Snehal Singh, who's joining us today to review a beautiful movie called Kaagaz. And she has to basically convince. I've not watched the movie, so she has to convince me why she really loved this particular movie. Snehal is in New Jersey, USA, and I'm also curious why she picked up this particular movie to review it. And Snehal is an author, and she is also a person who can help authors build best-selling, books, so that they're just not writing it and keeping it on their shelf as a passion, but also make it as a bestseller and setting some records up on the online platforms. She's also a coach. So, yep, somebody who can give a lot of good strategy on books and writing. So you can see a lot of books, cover pages as background. So over to you, Snehal. Why Kaagaz? Is it because Kaagaz? It's related to the material which is used in books, or you really like the movie?
So I'll be honest, one of the reasons why I chose to, watch this movie was because of the title, because it was about paper, and that's what I talk about every day. And I'm also one of those people who enjoys a paper copy
Hmm.
more than, the ebook. So for me, it is like, okay, it is about paper and it talks about your existence so much about being on paper rather than you actually existing. And that's what motivated me. So I did watch a trailer and I was like, okay, you know what? I want to check out this movie. I also feel that after a long time, there is a movie that came in which is not just talking about what was somebody's challenge, but it is more about how to overcome those challenges, and it's not about achieving it in like a short span of time, like life didn't turn around in one day for this man. So the character of Bharat Lal, which is played by Pankaj Tripathi in this particular movie, it's about a long time struggle. It's how times change. So it's like nearly a decade that is shown in this movie. And I am a very people's person, so I like to see, okay, how did people change? How did the nature of people change? How are they communicating now? How are they reacting to the same situation now? So on and so forth. And that's what got me motivated to get started with this movie. So here's what I feel, okay? If you ask me from a critical perspective, I'll probably rate this movie 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Okay. However, if I have to talk about reality and what is happening, or what has happened and how we define people, I think it's a very good example of it, because sometimes facts and data get so much of more importance than your existence and what you really, really feel. And it is depicted very beautifully in this movie. It is not about he shouting and saying, I'm right here in front of you, alive. However, the reaction of, people saying, I know, but on paper you're not alive, and that, while it sounds very funny, it is true for so many things. So I think the movie was designed very well. It is kind of slow. If you're not into slow movies, then you may be like, okay, when is it moving forward and how is it going to move faster and so on. However, the movie starts with a very simple concept of a simple man who loves life, enjoys singing, and he's part of that band Baja, where he is celebrating other people's lives and happy memories and so on. And one fine day, his wife just tells him, you need to expand your business, apply for a loan, go bigger. So he was like, okay, you know what? If I don't go to that bank, my wife is not going to stop cribbing about it, which is every home story where you're like, okay, let me just do it so that this conversation stops. And he reaches bank to just realize that uh, he needs to check what properties he has, and so he visits his village where he realizes that his uncle and his sons have declared him dead,
Oh my God.
and the journey begins from there for around good 14 years of he just proving himself that he is alive. And in that journey, how he realizes that he's not the only one with whom this has happened, which again speaks about a huge reality of humankind in terms of, what we really do when it comes to money, property, status, so on and so forth. And he meets so many more people in that journey who are also being declared dead by somebody or the other, and they're struggling to find their existence on paper. And that is how I would say this movie is all about. It does get boring, or a little what do you say, elongated. You want to just finish it. It couldn't. It it would have been a 1 hour movie rather than being a good 1 hour, 30 minutes kind of thing. Um, Also, it was a monologue, which I feel that though Satish Kaushik and Salman Khan did add their voice and so on and bits, it could have been what do you say, done in not in monologue but in any other form as well. The storytelling aspect could have changed a bit, because Kaagaz is all about stories, right? And that's where I felt that okay, it could have been done better. There could be more inserts that could have been done instead of elongating the story. So that's what I feel. I don't know if you have more questions for me.
Yeah, yeah. So which part of the movie got you glued, or your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when he comes back home and there is like entire village right there, okay? And they ask him, okay, who is dead? Why are we here for? Whose funeral is it? And he's like, it's me. I'm dead and you're attending my funeral. So I think that got me glued. I was like, okay, how would an individual really feel when your existence is denied? It's like you exist, but you're invisible. And that actually got me going. I really wanted to see, okay, what is he going to really do? And how is he going to prove his existence when him being physically present is not enough? So that's what got me going. So that scene is amazing, where he's just sitting right at the at his own doorstep, and everyone in the village has come saying, we're really sorry, but who died? And he's like, I died, and I'm like, okay, that is the crux of the movie.
Okay. So there are a lot of movies coming up which has a good message. That it's got a social message that needs to be passed on with humor. So did you see that in this particular movie where it's a humorous way of highlighting a message, that something is wrong or this is missing, and it's easy to play around with these documents.
I I would say Pankaj Tripathi was the best pick for this movie because, he does it with so much of simplicity that at times you feel he didn't really act, but it's true. And that's where I felt connected with the character. So there is humor, definitely. And there are things that he does, like, just to get his name on paper, he even kidnaps his own uncle's child so that, there is a police complaint and then at least they'll write his name and then he's proven alive kind of thing. So tiny things that even a child would do, if you want an ice cream and the parent says no, there's so many things that you do in those 30 minutes to get those ice cream, right? So you feel that he's doing the same thing. There is a point where even you reach in the movie where you feel like, give up, right? You have wife, you have a business, you have children. Just look at them. Why is it so important to get yourself alive on that paper? And you do feel that. And that's when I felt that, that not giving up attitude shows up so beautifully. So while it is done in a fun way, it's art truth as well, right? Like even while exercising, what is the hardest part? If you have decided to do 10 sets, doing the 11th and the 12th is what counts. So I think that's where the grip is. So humor is definitely there, and Pankaj Tripathi has done an amazing job in displaying that very beautifully. But that's where I said that it's a monologue. It's only Pankaj Tripathi who's keeping everything glued. While there is Satish Kaushik, which I feel could have done so much more. He's a comedian. So that expectation wasn't met, is what I felt.
Okay, so you're more into books and the covers and all that. So did the poster attract you?
Yes, definitely. I think the poster was attractive. The theme line or the trailer was really amazing. And that got me to actually click and watch because I am a movie addict to a greater extent. So, which means that I watch all movies, but I'm equally critic as well. So, that's what I felt that cover was attractive. Cast was really amazing. The star cast was great. Uh, but I felt that they didn't do as what they always do. They gave or delivered a little lesser than that. So it was only Pankaj Tripathi who actually kept everything going. And a little bit voice of Salman Khan, but that was again me being fan of Salman Khan.
Okay, so contributing or making such message movies, it's very difficult. Some of these things do not become blockbusters, might not generate, I mean, might not get into that 1,000 crore club. So do you think that the producers involved have done justice and creating this, though it was not, as per you, it's not created that particular vibe, but do you think that they've put in the efforts to create something which is value addition, just not the same romantic movies, which are like stereotype all the time. We know the story, happy ending or not a happy ending. Do you think that this stood out compared to other messages?
I'll be honest, I feel that they did a great job in terms of choosing this as a storyline in the first place. Because I never thought that this would actually happen with people. I know that there are things that have been done in terms of getting things hereditary and property and all of that, but this side, I think it was an eye opener that this also does happen to people. So was justice done in those lines? I would say yes, 100%. The storyline chosen was definitely good. And that's where I say, these are the stories that should actually reach more masses, and that's where probably a little bit more would have just got it there. Of course, these are not the movies that we expect as blockbusters. We all want happy endings and we all want those beautiful songs. Somewhere we all are Indian and we expect that, okay? The songs and the best of the sets. But I feel it was done beautifully in terms of reality, in terms of again the storyline, in terms of the challenges that a human being actually faces. So all those things were absolutely in place. It just that it felt a little slow because it was a very long term where I felt that they could have cut down on a few years, which were not needed. But otherwise, storyline 100%.
So, Kaagaz is not only about life and death. Okay, the mess up related to the death certificate that was just created, but there are a lot of mess ups that happen in India with respect to documentation. So, any mess ups you've gone through where there is a document that got messed up, during school days, college days, your certificates or your passport somewhere, ऐसा कुछ
Oh my
हुआ?
God. So many times, especially with the Aadhaar card. I'm still trying to change my name on the Aadhaar card. It's still the one that is like before my wedding, which has an address which probably doesn't even exist anymore because the building doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my god.
So that is definitely there. Um, when I moved here, again, the document challenge, we have a tendency to write month, date, and sorry, we generally write date, month, and
Month,
year.
yeah, yeah.
Here it is month,
Month.
date, and year. So my date of birth on my license on my where is exactly the opposite. So they've changed the date of birth, and getting it changed is a big time struggle. So I literally gave up after a particular time. But yeah, those are a few mess ups that I've had. At home, we have a regular mess up by default because me and my sister-in-law both have exactly the same name. So both brothers
Oh
have
my god.
married Snehals. So there are two Snehal Singhs in the home. So we always have to check whose letter is it. So yeah, that's there.
Thank God it's
I think
it's
that's
emails and
it
less
with
of
the
letters
story.
now, so you're saved. Otherwise, बहुत confusion हो जाता था.
But still all important like bank letters or Amazon deliveries, so
Hmm.
on and so forth. We always have to open the box to realize first whose is it. So yeah.
Okay. So thanks a lot, Snehal. Any other point you want to mention about the movie before we wind up?
I'm going to say that while this story is about proving your existence on paper, it actually talks a lot more about just feeling existed and being known by people. So that should definitely be a motivator for someone to watch the movie. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Snehal, and all the best with your mission to create those authors who can also not only write but also become the bestsellers and raise the flag for India and international in the US. So thanks a lot, Snehal, and thank you, friends. If you have a movie that you want to review, do connect with us, and we will showcase that in the coming episode. So thank you, Snehal. Have a great
Thank
day.